What's up, internet? My name's Ori. It is Tuesday, September 2nd, day number 57 inside the Big Brother house. We had some last minute scrambles on who the renom should be. Then the veto meeting gets kind of heated. Plus, where do the votes stand as of now? Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button if you like this video. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Little bit of a recap for you guys if you haven't been keeping up with everything going on. Keanu, our delusional Duke, wins the HOH and he goes on to nominate Morgan, Mickey, and Vince. But Morgan goes on to win the power of veto, and there has been talks about her potentially using that veto to save Vince instead of herself. But it seems like that has kind of died down. That takes us in to yesterday and all of the little scrambles that took place before the actual ceremony. One actually other quick note, I missed it in yesterday's update, but Mickey had apparently told Ashley that during Ava's HOH, Ashley was a potential nominee to go up on the block. Now, she told Ashley this, and they even told that Will was in the room. So Ashley took this to Will to kind of confirm, like, hey, Mickey said all this stuff was going on. Like, what's the deal? Will, like, he didn't really react to it very well. He made kind of like some faces. Ashley was like, yeah, that's kind of sus that you're making some of these weird faces, right? What are you doing here? And Will actually had to go and kind of have a second conversation with Ashley to kind of clarify everything that was going on. And she was like, yeah, like I thought by the way you reacted with your face that it had to be true. And he's like, nah, that's not true. Ava wouldn't do that. Ava wouldn't put you up on the block. She's like, you sure your face was kind of sus? He's like, my face is always sus. Like, don't don't look at my face. But he did a pretty good job of kind of covering up and saying, like, I thought you were talking about Mickey saying she was going to put you on the block. So I was like, what? So he was basically telling her, like, no, Ava would never put you up. Why would she consider putting you up? That doesn't make sense. And lots of Ashley's like, are you sure? Yeah, but like, are you sure? Like, really? Are you sure? And was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Which I think has kind of worked because Ashley is back on the idea that she is done with Mickey, still doesn't trust her. We also got Ava talking to Will about everything that happened with Keanu and everything he told her last night about people pitching her as the renom. Will thinks that Keanu is lying and just trying to do everything he can to get Vince to stay. And Will also tries to tell Ava, like, listen, there's some stuff going on with Mickey and Ashley. Like Mickey told Ashley that you were potentially going to be putting her up on the block. I kind of covered for that though. Like, don't worry. Like we should be good. And Will also told Ava's like, listen, we have to get Keanu out. Like he has to go. He's a liar. He thinks he's running the whole game. He's causing a wedge between you and some of the girls. Like we need to get rid of him for all of this. Ava said that she had heard if she goes up, the girls were going to vote against her and keep Mickey. And, even though there was a potential world where Rachel would prefer, to keep Ashley over me. So it's like, how do I know 100% that I was going to be safe going on up there? And Will said, like, listen, like Ashley, is Rachel's bestie. And like, that's a whole thing. So like that is something to be worried about. But if you were going up, I'm telling you, you would have been fine. It would have been completely safe. And that is right now, you know what? I think Ashley would even stay against either Vince or Mickey. So like that's kind of a thing to keep in mind, right? We gotta look out for that connection that Ashley and Rachel have. But again, he was telling her that you would have been fine if you went up on the block. You probably wouldn't have gone anywhere. Keanu then started to make some more attempts on who the potential renom should be and trying to get Morgan to use that veto on Vince by telling her, like, listen, I have another idea, but it only works one way if Vince isn't up on the block. What if it was Rachel, right? Like if we put Rachel up on the block, it literally only works if Vince comes off, though, right? Like we can't do this if Vince is on the block. Would you be down for it? And he keeps trying to push this a little bit. Even went and had conversations with Ava, being like, hey, listen, Ava, would you vote out Rachel, right? Like, would you consider doing that if she went up? Because we need to really save Vince here. And Ava said, like, it's too big of a decision to kind of make right now on the spot. She still would have to talk about to Vince about everything going on. And Keanu actually went to Vince to kind of say, like, listen, like we can maybe get, Rachel on the block, like go talk to Ava, like let's see if we can get this going. He talked to Lauren about it and Kelly about it. Like this was a thing he was trying to get done. And if it works, right, like it could be big. And then maybe even we do it with Vince up on there on the block, right? Because if Vince wins the blockbuster, right, like we'll be good. And then he's like, yeah, but I also don't necessarily trust that if I don't win the blockbuster, that Morgan wouldn't vote me out over Rachel. Like, I don't know if I trust that 100%. It's like Vince, come on now. We've seen the hugs. We they showered today together. Like not together, right? He was in the have not shower. She was in the have shower. So it's like it's separated by a curtain, but still, it was a thing. Like they're shower buddies. It's a whole thing they got going on with that. But they also talk about like if they did send Rachel up on the block and she doesn't leave, then you just kind of ruin that whole relationship. Ava eventually tells Keanu, like, listen, like someone had kind of said like he wasn't going to put her up and that she had kept him safe during her HOH. So it's like, do you really want to do that? Keanu also brought up like how Rachel had been threatening that Ashley should go up on the block, and eventually Keanu just says like, listen, I guess I'll just do Ashley, right? Like I guess I'll just do that. Ashley was meanwhile telling Rachel that Keanu had told Ava that she needs to keep Vince because we need to keep him around. So Ava Ashley's like getting like really kind of worried about Ava's potential vote because like, well, that's a thing. And that Keanu had also been telling Ava that they were pitching that Ashley and Rachel were pitching Ava as the potential renom. And Rachel's like, oh, I hate him so much. I hate him. So she went to Ava to kind of say, like, listen, I would never pitch you for a renom, right? Like, I would never do that. I might have been saying that, hey, Ashley shouldn't go up on the block, but I was never saying you should go on the block. She kind of did. Like, she never actually said Ava's name. Like, I'll give her that. She never said, like, maybe Ava should go on the block, but she very heavily implied it and even confirmed it when they said, well, what other option are you thinking? Because that's what she would say. She's like, can't we think of like another option? I mean, there's another option, there's another one. And Keanu's like, who? You don't mean yourself, right? Like, who else could go up? And he's like, Ava? She's like, hmm. So it was like, yeah, Rachel didn't necessarily say, yeah, you should put Ava up the block, but she 100% was pitching for Ava to go up on the block. And they talked about how like that's not a thing. Don't worry about it. So Rachel's just trying to do some clearing of the air with Ava and make sure that she knows that she would never do that. Though she totally did do that. Keanu ended up talking to Vince again, just saying, like, listen, like, what are you thinking? How are we feeling? Vince actually says he's starting to feel better about his chances against Ava because of the whole Ashley situation. He's not sure if Ava would be the better one to go up on the block. So that's a whole thing. But at the end of the day, we ended up with Mickey using, or Morgan using the power of veto on herself. And it ended up being Ashley who went up on the block as the replacement nominee. So nothing too crazy with that on anything with Rachel going up or Ava going up after he had told her that he wasn't. It did end up being Ashley as the renom. Apparently, though, things got a little heated after the nomination. Ashley apparently was saying something to Keanu in like some kind of little speech or whatever, going off about, her going up on the block. Keanu then apparently cut her off and was kind of defending himself. They started going back and forth. Rachel got involved. At some point, Keanu even was trying to say, because I think Ava had gotten involved somehow, and I don't know if this is how she got involved or what, but apparently Ava was getting on in there because Mickey started defending Ava, and then Keanu's like, you were pitching her to go up on the block. And then Ava got involved going against Ashley. So it was all over the place with this veto meeting. I'm really excited to see kind of all the fallout from this on the veto episode. But then it got even to like a even weirder place where apparently they were saying that Keanu doesn't respect women, and I don't know if they actually said he was a misogynist, but like the whole idea was being dropped that Keanu doesn't respect women and doesn't talk well to women and doesn't treat women well. So this was like a whole thing that was going on, and he was trying to push back and trying to defend himself as well. So we're gonna have to see how it actually looks when we see it on the episode. It always gets edited a little bit, so we won't actually know 100% who's in the right, who's in the wrong here. But also, I don't necessarily see that from Keanu, right? Like they're saying that Keanu doesn't respect women when he's literally been trying to work with Rachel the entire season. Hasn't gone well, and they butt heads all the time. But I mean, like he's literally trying to work with one of the strongest women in the entire house, maybe one of the strongest women we've seen in the entire game of Big Brother ever. So it's like I don't know. I don't know if I buy it 100%, but that is kind of the narrative that was going around with all that. Ashley ends up talking about, how Ava was going at her after she was defending her and everything like that. So it was wild to see this all going out. Even Lauren and Ava started talking about how everything was going on. Lauren actually told Ava that Rachel had told her she shouldn't associate with Keanu. And she doesn't understand where all this misogyny stuff had coming from. Ava said that Rachel started the fight and that, she just at this point hates everybody in this house equally. She ends up calling Keanu and Rachel twin flames. She's like, Keanu and Rachel, they're brother and sisters from hell. Ava also ends up telling Lauren that the only people she trusts in this game are Lauren and Will. Like that's it. That's all that Ava's really trusting now at this point. But we move on to some conversations where Keanu and Rachel start kind of talking and trying to chat things out, kind of clear the air on everything that was going on. Rachel tells Keanu how she thinks, the way Keanu was talking to Ashley wasn't right. And Rachel also feels like Ashley, could end up going now because they won't have Ava's vote because of everything that Keanu was saying about them wanting to put Ava up on the block. Rachel also says to Keanu, like, do you think it's okay for you to talk to Ashley that way? Like, she hasn't done anything in this house. Like, that's what you're going to say to her in the kitchen when everyone is around. And Keanu's like, listen, it why does it sound crazy it sounds crazy to me that people are saying I was disrespectful when she was the one talking shit about me, right? Like if she starts it and I just respond back, how is that disrespectful? Right? If I just jumped on her right away, like that wouldn't be that would be disrespectful. And Rachel keeps telling him like, she's just very upset with how he was yelling at Ashley. And she's like, listen, I've been doing this for 15 years. Ashley, she's new at all this. It just feels different, and I'm defensive of my friends. And Keanu's like, all right, well, if you're defensive of your friends, I thought we were supposed to be friends. Why weren't you defensive for me? Uh, right? Like, what's the problem there? Is it just because I'm a guy? Right? Is that the only reason why you're not doing this? It just wasn't right on both ends, he says, right? Like, and he even goes on to say, like, listen, I'll apologize to her, right? Like, I would like an apology from her too, but I don't expect one, right? But I will go and apologize to her, and I'll tell her I'm sorry, especially for, saying she hasn't done anything in this game. I don't know if that's the one he needs to apologize for, because like really, what has Ashley done in this game other than take a 2-hour shower? But nonetheless, he does say he would apologize to her. And he's like, listen, you wanted to get your TV moment, but it wasn't going to be at my expense. All right. So sorry. Keanu then talks to Rachel again more about like, hey, listen, are we good at least? And she's like, yeah, I apologize to you. You apologize to me. We're good. And Keanu then says, he's like, listen, I don't want any more of those Rachel stares. And she's like, they're just for fun. And they're not serious. He's like, well, they're effing scary. So like don't do that anymore. And they get a little frenemy hug and they hug it out. Keanu then goes on to meet with Ashley and he's like, listen, let me just start off by apologizing for what I said in the kitchen. Again, I don't know exactly what he said, but I believe the whole idea was you haven't done anything in this game. Like you're just here. Which again, I don't think is really that bad because it's kind of true. Um, but he just says, in general, I'm totally sorry for all that. It was just in the heat of the moment, and I felt like I was being attacked by both you and Rachel. And Ashley's like, I swear I was only saying like two things, and then you ended up pissing me off because you interrupted me. Like it just spun out of control. I didn't want it to get to that point, so they just kind of apologized to each other there a little bit. And she just again said like, I just didn't want to hear from you right after the ceremony like that. And then after everything I had heard just before the ceremony, I was just really pissed. So I was going off. And I guess, you were going around trying to say that, Ava was somebody that we were trying to get it put up on the block. And, it was just a whole thing and that I was getting really upset about just the whole situation. Keanu said that, Ava came to him about like concerns about going up, right? He didn't say that anybody was pushing her to go up, but he told her that like, listen, Ava, I'm not putting you on the block, but people are telling me to consider you, right? And like, it wasn't even or excuse me, he didn't say that she said that people were considering me. He said like, listen, I'm not putting you on the block, but she came to him saying people are telling me that you, Keanu, are considering me, Ava. So he was like, listen, like I haven't heard that, but people are definitely advocating for Ashley not to go up there. So Keanu's like, if you guys are the only two options and people are saying that Ashley shouldn't go up, she interpreted it as, yeah, they're putting me up on the block. So I never told her that people were going to do that. But like, if there's only two options and they're saying don't put this one up, that means they're going to put this one up, right? Like it makes sense that that's why she would consider that. And Keanu says that, Rachel also came up to the HOH room and did say that she would evict Ava if that kept Ashley off the block. So, like, that's actually true, right? Like, that's a thing that happened. And, it's just a whole back and forth that they all had. They did end up kind of clearing the air, but I think there is still a little bit of animosity there. Obviously, Ashley just went on the block. Rachel's not happy that Ashley went on the block. So we'll see how that all goes. We then also ended up with a conversation with Rachel telling Vince, she's like, listen, I think you have the votes to stay over Ashley. I think at the end of the day, you would stay. And he's like, no way. Like, why would anybody keep me over Ashley? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But, do you think it was because of everything that just happened today? And Rachel's like, nah, that was nothing. Like, just in general, I think people are going to end up keeping you over Ashley. And, Rachel starts crying, even saying that, like, listen, you two, right? Whether it's you or Ashley, one of you has to win the blockbuster so they can just send Mickey out of the house. And that even, like Morgan will be so upset, Vince, if you end up leaving. She'll be broken if you leave this game. And Vince is like, I imagine it's going to be the same for you if Ashley leaves. So, like, let's make sure that one of us wins this blockbuster. We also had Ashley who had told Rachel that Vince and Morgan were pushing for Lauren to be the renom, or excuse me, he wasn't telling Rachel. Ashley told Ava that Vince and Morgan were pushing for Lauren to be the renom, which Ava was shocked about. She's like, wait. Vince and Morgan were pushing Lauren to be the renom? Yeah. Ava then went and told Lauren all this and about all that plan that was taking place, right? Now, here's the fun part, right? This was them pushing Lauren to go up on the block, but the plan was never actually for Keanu to put Lauren up on the block. It was all for just a ruse to get Morgan to use the veto on Vince, and then Keanu would put Ashley up on the block. So Ashley's pushing this narrative to Ava, who now Ava's pushing this to Lauren and just being like, listen, I don't trust Vince, right? Like, I'm telling you, they were pushing for you to go up on the block with this whole plan with Morgan. Like, him and Morgan and Vince are like this, right? You can't trust him. I'm telling you, Lauren, like, I know you trust him, but I don't trust him. I'm sorry. And, I think Vince is just not a number for anybody. He's playing for himself. It's true. And that him and Morgan, right? Like, they are going to be too tight with each other and you can't break that up. And that he's up there against Ashley. I can't keep him in this game. Like, I'm just sorry. It's just not an option for me. But they do think that their best case scenario is for both Vince and Ashley to stay and for Mickey to go. But if it ends up being Ashley and Vince up on the block, Ava right now just cannot vote for him to stay in the game because she doesn't trust him. He's put her on the block multiple times. All these weird lies that are always coming out. Lauren kind of pushes back a little bit, right? Like, she's like, I don't know if that's all true. But she did also end up telling this all to Vince, being like, listen, I'm sorry, Vince, but Ava doesn't trust you right now. You're going to need to work on her because if you want to stay, you're going to need her vote. We also had something else that was kind of interesting with Lauren earlier in the day. Lauren was going around in the have not room and she found a drawer. She even used like a bobby pin to like unlock this drawer. There was nothing in it, right? It wasn't like some special surprise or anything like that. but she was really excited because she's like, "Ooh, I found the hide and go veto space," which I don't think we're getting hide and go veto. There's only so many weeks left, and we still have like a couple of like really iconic competitions that we haven't done yet, right? When's Zingbot going to be coming around? When is BB Comics going to be coming around, right? I would expect that both of them would definitely be competitions we're going to have. And there's only so many of the actual big competitions other than a double eviction or a triple eviction where it's going to be kind of those faster paced comps. They're not the big iconic ones. So I don't know if we're also going to get a hide and go veto this year, though it would be kind of fun that she found that little spot and to see if it actually worked out. Other than that, there were still a lot of conversations going on now about the potential vote and where things are going to land. The big thing right now is that Ava does seem like kind of a swing vote in a lot of scenarios. And Morgan and Vince are kind of talking about trying to get Ava to plan on keeping Vince in the game. And they really want to work and kind of even tell her about the potential pitch that Rachel had to form an alliance to get Ava and Lauren up on the block instead of Ashley. So that'll be a thing that's going to be playing out here over the next few days as well. We can take a look at our allegiance chart here and kind of take a look at how things are shaping up in the house. Not too many changes as far as like who's moving where. I think for the most part, this is kind of a good idea. I even think maybe actually Kelly should be lower down. Honestly, like Kelly and Mickey are pretty much on the same level on both sides of the house. Nobody really trusts anything they say at this point. So they don't really have much sway at all. So other than Kelly coming on down, I think this is a pretty good look at where the house is. I do think, as weird as it is, and I still don't necessarily trust that if it did end up being Mickey versus Vince, that Ashley, Rachel, Will, Ava would all vote out Mickey over Vince. But I do think that's where it's looking like it's leaning, that everyone will pretty much vote Mickey out no matter what scenario, whether it's Ashley versus Mickey or Mickey versus Vince. It feels like almost everybody's on board with that. Kelly, Lauren would both vote to keep Vince in pretty much all scenarios. Morgan, I think, would also vote to keep Vince in all scenarios. She would vote for Vince over Ashley. She would vote for Vince over Mickey. So that's three, but that doesn't get you there. You still need another vote. Ava would be a big one that Vince would need to get to lock in over Ashley if he wants to stay. I think he has that over Mickey, so he'll be fine on that end. Over on the other side, if we look at these people, right, Will, Rachel, Ava, they are a little bit of question marks on what will end up happening with the Ashley and Vince vote, right? We were talking about Ava. She keeps saying, I just don't trust Vince. So unless they can convince Ava to flip on over to Vince, it feels like Ashley will actually end up having the votes to stay because you would end up with Will, Rachel, Ashley on that side. And then in this scenario, it would be Mickey who isn't on the block. I think Mickey would also vote to keep Ashley over Vince. So it's not looking good for Vince in an Ashley versus Vince scenario. It's looking good for Ashley and Vince if it's a situation where they're facing Mickey. So as long as Mickey doesn't win the blockbuster, Mickey should be leaving this week as of now, but things can always change. And it's really going to be interesting to see what happens with the Ava vote, because that's pretty much the swing vote in all scenarios right now on who would end up leaving. I just think it's going to be interesting to see where this all plays out. But what do you guys think of everything going on inside the house right now? Do you think Ashley was the right pick for Keanu's renom? Who do you think is most likely to win the blockbuster of these three, Ashley, Mickey, or Vince? And who would you like to see end up going home, the last person to go home before jury starts? Let me know all that in the comments down below. Thank you guys all again so much for watching each and every morning here on the channel, where we're doing the daily live feed updates all season long. We are on our way to 20K, which is crazy. Thank you guys all again for the love and support you show me here. If you are new here, though, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Check out the links to all my socials in the pinned comment description down below. Things like Twitter and Discord, great places to kind of hang out and talk about Big Brother, talk about other things that are going on in Discord as well, like Survivor Australia. I'm telling you, if you're not watching Survivor Australia, you need to get on it. It's the best Survivor that we've seen in such a long time. Go check all that stuff out. You can find stuff out about that in the Discord. Check out things like the Uri Fund. Never required, always appreciated. But thank you guys all so much for all the love. And I will see you next time.
It was very hygienic. It might be the daylight.
Oh my god, I'm an idiot.
What?
My towel's over there.
Oh shit! I don't have one either.